Today, we are diving into Conwy Castle in Wales. Now, this isn't just some beautiful, crumbling ruin. Oh no, this is a terrifyingly effective masterpiece of medieval engineering, and it was built for one reason and one reason only: absolute total domination.
So that really is the question at the heart of this whole story, isn't it? How do you build a symbol of absolute power? Because Conway wasn't just a building, it was a statement, it was a weapon, and frankly, it was a marvel of its time. So how on earth did King Edward I manage to turn a pile of stone and mortar into this unbreachable symbol of control? Well, let's find out.
All right, here's our game plan. First up, we're going to dig into the brutal conflict that even made this fortress necessary. Then, we'll break down its incredible, forward-thinking design and walk through its layers of defense. We'll also look at how it went from a weapon of war to a cultural icon. And finally, we'll see what this ancient monument really means to us today.
Okay, so to really get Conwy, you have to understand the man who built it and the war he was absolutely dead set on winning. And believe me, this wasn't just about grabbing some land. This was a raw, brutal struggle for power. King Edward I had a very clear mission: to completely crush Welsh resistance once and for all. And his strategy? He called it an iron ring of castles. The whole point was to basically strangle North Wales by locking down all the key roads, ports, and mountain passes. And Conwy, well, Conwy was a critical piece of that puzzle, perfectly placed to control the vital Menai Strait. This was not a defensive move. This was a declaration of occupation, written in stone. So construction kicks off in 1283, and it was a gigantic project. We're talking over a decade to get it done. And its power was put to the test almost right away. In 1294, a major Welsh rebellion was brutally put down right there in its shadow, which pretty much cemented its reputation as this unbreakable symbol of English dominance.
You know, the thing about Conwy is that it wasn't just big, it was smart. The architects mixed these classic, battle-tested designs with some seriously innovative new tech to build a fortress that was, no joke, decades ahead of its time.
And the look of the place is absolutely key. Conwy is just this picture-perfect example of the Gothic revival style. You see those huge, imposing battlements and towers? They weren't just for decoration. Every single line, every angle was designed to scream power, to make you feel small and intimidated before you even got close. Now here is a little bit of medieval genius for you. The builders used something called opus caementitium, which was basically a super sophisticated waterproofing system. And in the famously damp Welsh climate, this was a game changer. It stopped water from seeping into the walls and weakening them over time, making sure this fortress stayed rock solid.
So, you put it all together, the intimidating Gothic look, that clever waterproofing, and the time-tested Mott and Bailey layout. And what you get is a nearly perfect medieval fortress. Now let's see how all that translated into layers of deadly, deadly defense.
I want you to imagine for a second that you're an attacker trying to take this castle. It's not like you just had to get over one wall. No, you were facing a whole series of deadly obstacles, and each one was specifically designed to wear you down and stop you dead in your tracks. So first up, you'd have to deal with the gatehouse, this absolute beast of a stone structure with two enormous gates. If you somehow survive that, you'd come face to face with the gigantic curtain wall. And then, if by some miracle you actually got past that, you would still have to conquer the keep, the castle's most heavily fortified inner sanctum. 13 feet. Just let that number sink in. That's not how high the main wall is. That is how thick it is. Can you imagine trying to break through 13 feet of solid stone, all while defenders are raining arrows and rocks down on you from above? It was designed to be completely and utterly hopeless for any attacker. And this all goes back to that brilliant classic Mott and Bailey design. You've got the keep, right? That's the central tower, your last line of defense. It's surrounded by the bailey, or the courtyard, which is then protected by that massive curtain wall and the gatehouse. It's like a series of concentric lethal rings. So what happens next? Well, over the centuries, as its military importance started to fade, Conwy Castle kind of took on a new life. It transformed from a symbol of war into this incredible source of inspiration and a keeper of history.
Today, the castle is home to some amazing collections. We're talking priceless art by Welsh artists, incredible medieval armor, and all sorts of archaeological treasures. I mean, they found everything from Roman mosaics to 13th century pottery right there on site. It's like a direct window into the past. And for hundreds of years, its dramatic silhouette has been a total muse for artists. The legendary painter J.M.W. Turner was so captivated by its rugged beauty that he painted it back in 1800, basically immortalizing the castle's powerful presence for generations to come. And that legacy continues right into our time. The castle's been in a ton of movies and TV shows, and it even gets a nod in the Harry Potter series. How cool is that? It's really cemented its place in modern pop culture. So, what is Conwy Castle now? It's certainly not a tool of conquest anymore. It's become this incredible bridge to our past, and it draws people in from all corners of the globe. Over 300,000 people. That's how many visitors walk through its gates every single year. It's just staggering. That number alone tells you everything you need to know about the castle's enduring power to capture our imagination.
And then in 1986, Conwy Castle got one of the highest honors you can imagine. It was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This wasn't just some local award. This was the whole world saying, this fortress is an irreplaceable treasure for all of humanity. The official UNESCO citation really says it all, calling it one of the most important medieval fortresses in Wales. It's a legacy of pure architectural genius and raw military power, perfectly preserved in stone.
And that brings us right back to where we started, with a question. Conwy was forged in conflict, right? It was built to dominate. But today, it stands as a teacher of history, a muse for artists, and a place where people from all over the world can gather. Which leaves us with one final thing to think about. What does a castle built for war really mean to us in a time of peace?